Hello again to this video clip series, My Journey to God in a Very Secularized World. This video clip will finish up this meditation of Padre Quartilio Gabrieli of 2015, and then we'll go on to another meditation here. This meditation you can find printed on the internet with the title The End of the Times, the Great Trial. And this is the last part of this meditation by Padre Quartilio. So he quotes a phrase from the Act of Consecration for the movement, Married Movement of Priests, and he quotes, "Mindful that atheism has caused shipwreck in the faith to a great number of the faithful, that desecration has entered into the holy temple of God, not sparing even many of our brother priests, and that evil and sin are spreading more and more throughout the world, we make so bold as to lift our eyes trustingly to you." And then Padre Quartilio continues, he says, "So get rid of lack of trust. Away with fear on the part of us in the movement. The only concern should be that of entering and helping others to enter into the safe haven of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, living the consecration to her Immaculate Heart." And then with quotes from a message of Our Lady, "With the simplicity of children, in a spirit of humility, of poverty, of trust, and of filial abandonment." From a message of December 31, 97. And so he kind of ends up here. Padre Quartilio says, "And this, even though if already the time has arrived in which," and then Our Lady says, "those who oppose you, who calumniate you, who despise you, who push you aside and who persecute you, will believe that they are doing something pleasing to the Heavenly Father and even to me, your Immaculate Mother. This forms part of the tenebrous time in which you are living, because you are now entering into the most painful and dark phase of the purification, and soon the Church will be shaken by a terrible persecution, a new persecution such as has hitherto been unknown." That was from a message of November 12th, 88. So Padre Quartilio continues, he says, "Today, dear friends, if one does not think like so many others, the least accusation is, you are a conservative or a Lefebvrean, or even worse, you are against the Pope, and so you're not of the movement. Listen to what she tells us, the Mother of the Church." And then he quotes this message of Our Lady. She says, "I am especially close to the Church in these last times, when she must live through the bloody hour of her purification and of the Great Tribulation. For her also the plan of the Heavenly Father must be carried out, and thus she is being called to climb the Calvary of her immolation. This most beloved daughter of mine will be stricken and wounded, betrayed and despoiled, abandoned and led to the gibbet, where she will be crucified. The man of iniquity will enter into her interior, and he will bring to its culmination the abomination of desolation, foretold in Holy Scriptures." That was January 194. And then he takes another message of Our Lady. "For a little while yet you will walk in light, but soon everything will be plunged in darkness. Then I myself will be your light, and will guide you in carrying out that which my Immaculate Heart desires. To do this, beloved sons, I must ask of you that which your human nature finds most costly. I ask you to live without thinking of tomorrow, without being preoccupied about the future. Live with perfect love and perfect abandonment, and the present which I, moment by moment, arrange for you, my little babes. For this, accustom yourself not to look at things but to me alone. Do not consider what is awaiting you, the deeply distressing events of these times of yours. The hour of darkness is approaching. the hour when you must drink the chalice which my Son has prepared for each one of you. But do not even think of this hour, that you may not be caught up in fear and anxiety. Look only to my Immaculate Heart. Take refuge and warm yourselves here. Strengthen yourselves here. Feel yourselves in safety here. Abandon yourself completely and without reserve to this heart. Then only will you correspond to the great plan of salvation which my heart has in each one of you, my little children. Message of March 1575. And then another message. In fact, at the very moment when Satan will be enthroned as Lord of the world and will think himself now the sure victor, I myself will snatch the prey from his hands. In a trice, he will find himself empty-handed, and in the end the victory will be exclusively my Son's and mine. This will be the triumph of my Immaculate Heart in the world. That was from November 1973. And Padre Cortelius says, still more, there are many signs now clear that in these times Satan is seated, is sure to win, rather to win big. Let us not be fooled. He will not prevail. Let us welcome the invitation of the Mother. And then another message he quotes, this is the cross which Jesus now asks you to carry, to live side by side with brother priests who no longer believe, who spiritually are no longer alive, who betray the gospel, who are unfaithful servants, and yet remain in the church to be ministers of this infidelity. This is for you the heaviest of crosses, but it enters into a greater plan of mine. The decisive events have already begun, and the one you are living through is the beginning of these. This scandal will become even greater and more serious. You will be called upon to suffer more and more, because this veritable apostasy from the gospel will one day become general in the church before the great liberating purification. That was the message of July 1975. And Padre Cortila again, he says, just today a dear brother recommended to me to not mention for now these messages, because he said it is too early. They are not understood and could alarm the people for no reason. But I say, it's been 40 years that she, the Mama, told us these things. What must we wait for? And so then he offers another message of Our Lady. It is now the time for you to know this, that you may be consciously prepared for the battle. This is now the time for me to begin disclosing part of my plan. First of all, it is necessary that my enemy have the impression of having conquered everything, of having everything now in his hands. This is why he will be permitted to penetrate even into the interior of my church, and he will succeed in plunging the sanctuary of God into darkness. He will reap the greatest number of victims from among the ministers of the sanctuary. That was October 1875. And then he continues, he says, the adversary must have the impression that he has everything in hand. This is the words of Padre Cortillo. Introducing himself in the church, gathering so many victims among the ministers. And this, my dear brothers, we see it every day. And as the Mary movement of priests, we must still act as if everything is normal. He's questioning. He's kind of putting a question there. Why are we acting as if it's all normal? And that's how he ends this meditation. I repeat that last phrase. He says, we see this everywhere, and he says, and as the Mary movement of priests, you know, he's telling them what he says. We must still act as if everything is normal. He's pointing at the priests who want to close their eyes to what's going on in the church. And so this is the end of it. He said, Padre Cortilio Gabrieli. And so I end this video clip here. May God bless you and Mary guide you.